God bless us, everyone.
Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to episode 17 of our Christmas Carol reviews. If you don't know exactly what's going on, make sure to click the link in the description for the introduction, and we'll get you all caught up that way. So today, we are talking about A Christmas Carol released in 1984, starring George C. Scott as Scrooge. Now, I know that a lot of critics before have said the Alastair Sims has been their favorite, but I have to say for the casual fan, the non-critic, I have heard more acclaim on this one of just the normal person than I have of the Alastair Sims one. And I'll tell you one thing, it really does deserve it. So let's get right to it. George C. Scott starred as Scrooge. If I had to pick anything that was an issue with him, it would have to be that there wasn't just one sort of desire for Scrooge. It seemed like every scene, and sometimes every time he talked to a different person, he had a different type of Scrooge. At one point, he was dastardly, evil, covering all that. At one point, he was very giddy and how evil he could be. Ha ha ha. And then at other points, he was just the apathetic type Scrooge. And overall, if I had to pick one, he would have been the apathetic, but there were just times that every single style of Scrooge came out in it, and he played them all extremely well. It was just a small thing, especially in that opening couple of scenes. So of Scrooge, 5 out of 5 true to the book. Because of that, it was 9 out of 10 on bad Scrooge. But when he got to be good Scrooge, he actually showed how he had never been good before, and he needed some practice at it and still had a few things to get better. And I really enjoyed that portion of it. So a 5 out of 5 on good Scrooge. And the transformation. To see everything and how it went, it was very, very well done. However, there were some things that just kind of didn't work. And we'll get more into that part when we get to the Ghost of Christmas Future. But because the transformation just had a couple issues, it didn't quite get the perfect score. So an 8 out of 10 on that one, giving George C. Scott as a 27 out of 30 on this. Moving on to Marley. Marley was played very, very close to the book. I mean, very close. Couple things that were here and there. When he actually showed up, he had the handkerchief and removed it before he could talk and opened it up with nice and wide, like before. But the one thing this one did, it made you feel like he was a ghostly spirit instead of a person, because he never looked anywhere except straight ahead. He was always staring straight back. And so it would look something like this. Scrooge, you would be visited by 3 spirits. They are going to help you. Devoid of emotion, everything. Not even looking at Scrooge. Obviously knows where he is and can tell where things are in the room, but never, ever acknowledged him with his eyes. And I thought that was a very ghostly thing to do with all of that. The only reason why it didn't get a perfect score is because we didn't get the ghosts outside of the window. We didn't get the spirits filling the air, trying to help, but not being able to. So otherwise, if they had gotten that, it would have been a perfect score for true to the book, but a 4 out of 5 on that. And just a couple things here and there, including that gave the interpretation a 9 out of 10. Moving on to the Ghost of Christmas Past. This fit perfectly. And I'll say this about the whole story, but especially the portion of the past. They not only included everything from the book, they did add a few things, but nothing they added took away from the story. Unlike some things that we've seen before where they're trying to get this additional side to it or get a different look at something, they really didn't take away from the story. It actually added to it quite a bit. There was one point in the past where after Fan retrieves Scrooge from his school, their father is outside and he talks to him saying, okay, you can come home, but I got you a job. You're going to that job in 3 days. And you saw that interaction, so it actually added to what the story was trying to tell, not just adding a line to be adding a line. So a 5 out of 5 on closest to the book. I gave it a 9 out of 10, mostly because I wasn't as big of a fan of the Fan character. And that's not supposed to be a pun. I mean, his sister Fan, I wasn't a big, I didn't like her all that much. I thought that she was very kind of absent. Whereas in the book, she actually plays a big role in all that. So it was kind of an issue on that. But 9 out of 10 on that, so a 14 out of 15 on the Ghost of Christmas Past. Now, the Ghost of Christmas present. Okay? When they were talking about this and they went through it, it did a great job of getting the story, but what they added to this one during the Cratchit's house and during Fred's party is Scrooge took everything the ghost said and brought it back to him. Bob's giving his very famous speech, a toast to Scrooge, and Scrooge goes, "That's right, I'm the reason for this feast. You should all be grateful." See, and Teresa goes, "See, they're grateful. I got no problems." And it really showed how, while Scrooge kind of got where the ghost was going, there was still a few points or still a lot of change to go, especially with the past or the future. And it gave the future really a more of a purpose in this fact that it was really needed with all this and not just that right there to establish 9 Tim. So 5 out of 5 true to the book, hit every single part that was necessary. 10 out of 10 on the interpretation. So 15 out of 15 on the Ghost of Christmas Present. Now, if I had to pick one part that was a downer on this interpretation, and actually, if you go back and read or watch some of my things, you'll notice that this part's kind of been the letdown of most of them. It's the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. First off, it followed the book. 4 out of 5 following the book. But when the dialogue came through, there was one point where Scrooge basically found out that he was the dead guy. Like, he found out that everything was there, but really just didn't click that there was no remorse. It's one of those things that, you know, the whole point of the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. And one of the the other thing that really got me with it, going back a little bit, they went to the point where they're in front of a bed with a sheet on it, and obviously it had been pillaged and everything because the woman had taken it to Old Joe, but everything else in the room was exactly the same, and you could see everything. You saw the chairs, you saw a picture, you saw books all over the place, which, by the way, why didn't you take the books? I mean, that could actually be useful. But anyway, they're going through all of that, and Scrooge doesn't even look around or doesn't recognize that it's his room. And if you've read the actual Christmas Carol book or story, it's just the bed with the sheet. There's no markings in the room. It's almost a black area. And when Scrooge didn't recognize his own room, it was a little bit unbelievable to me. Okay, I just didn't really get it. And why didn't he figure out all of this? So unfortunately, I had to give it a little knock for that. But still, an overall good Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. A 7 out of 10 on that, giving it an 11 out of 15 as our rating for Ghost of Christmas Future. Now, the cinematography was very, very well done. Whoever it was actually did some zoom-in shots, some zoom-outs, had some nice angles and everything, really showed sort of the overpowering presence of the Ghost of Christmas Past and sort of the cowering of Scrooge with high-angle and low-angle shots throughout all of that. So it was very well done. The costumes, spot on. Everything was absolutely perfect. The Ghost of Christmas Past had the light and was carrying the dowser or whatever, the hat thing, whatever it's called. I forget right now, sorry. But she was carrying that. You had the torch and everything. And one thing that they did with those is they actually used those to transfer scenes. They would show stuff in it and everything. So a 10 out of 10 on the costumes. Now the music. This was not a musical. Okay, so really the music wasn't the number one thing on everybody's mind. But the one thing I will say, especially in the scenes at the beginning with the office and the exchange and the Marley portion, there was sometimes that the music was not well written and didn't fit well with the scene. You could tell that the music or the composer was really wanting to have this huge impactful point within his music. And unfortunately, with the mixing, they actually had to pull it down. And that was just one thing that kind of bothered me. But once again, I'm basically, I'm a music teacher, so I follow the music a lot, and I can notice certain things like that. A normal person probably wouldn't have noticed, but still, a 7 out of 10 on that one. Okay, so that was 1984's A Christmas Carol starring George C. Scott. A very, very good adaptation. Just a couple things here and there that didn't give it that perfect score. Definitely want to check this one out. make sure to stay tuned for episode 18, where we're going to show another very special one, and you just don't want to miss it. Don't want to miss it, okay? So be sure to, if you like what you're seeing, like, comment, and subscribe down below. Share this with your friends. I'd like to get a lot more people to watch this if we can, so be sure to do that for me. God bless you guys, and that's a wrap.